Back again with another video. The Dragon IFBB Pro Classic Physique Competitor. It's a nice ring to it. I wanted to create another video because I made a promise to myself that I would always try to create content for people who are going through different issues as it pertains to the lower back, because this seems to be a consistency in my life. And just because this is in my wheelhouse, right? This is what I do for a profession. I wanted to be able to share content with those who are interested and, help as many people as I possibly can. And if it translates to some, one-on-one coaching, that's great. If not, hear me out and hopefully it'll impact you in a positive way. So about 2 weeks ago, actually, we'll just jump right into things. Recently, I had a lateral hip shift that was created from my previous injuries of having herniated discs in my past. Lateral hip shift, what is that? You might be asking. It's one of those situations where someone is so guarded on one side of their body that their hips are basically shifted to either the left or the right about 15 to 20 degrees. So if I was standing up, it would be like, you think that you're like this, when in reality you're kind of like this. So you're at an angle. I'm sure everyone's seen a video of somebody kind of standing up sideways. It's because they're so guarded on one side of their body that that's what they feel like is their true north, which is a pretty wild thing that I woke up to one day. Now, how did this happen for me is I was experiencing some hip pain, some knee pain, and some ankle pain all on my left side, which is similar to when I had sciatica down my left side. Now, feedback that I was getting was where I thought was strange was I didn't have any sciatica. And that's something that I've had in the past, 3 or 4 separate times. So I was not experiencing those symptoms at all. I was just having that pain. What I did was I continued to train at very high amounts of weight thresholds, and I was just keeping aggravating the situation. I thought it was my hip, but the reality of the matter was it's still my lower back, okay? So I had an adjustment. Had somebody pop my hip, and then when I woke up the next day, I was like literally crooked. I was literally crooked. So pain level was pretty high. Back was super, super stiff. Zero ability to create like flexion. So I couldn't really bend over without getting like lower back irritation and pain, and no ability to put on socks or shoes. So you got to think that's pretty scary. For somebody that has to work with clients in person or just in general, if you're experiencing any symptoms like that, like you have to, got to be able to move, right? So what I'm going to share with everybody is the protocol that I use for the past 2 weeks that I think applies to a lot of lower back injuries in general to help kind of speed run the process. So you're not kind of just dealing with this thing for months on end. Because I looked at it and it said at minimum, it's usually a 6 to 8 week recovery. And for those who've had a herniated disc, even the quote unquote professionals would say that takes like minimum like 3 months to heal. When in reality it can take a little bit longer than that. We're talking like 6 months to a year to where you're starting to really feel like your normal self again. So again, protocol that's going to get you in the best shape possible if you have these things available to you, okay? I'm trying to speed run this. I want to make this quick and efficient so I can get back to progressing, feeling like myself, being able to bend down, put on shoes, right? Things like that. Okay, so what did I do? Apologies if you hear my son yelling in the background. It's witching hour, so he gets a little bit crazy. 1, when you wake up in the morning, you're probably crazy stiff. Crazy stiff, okay? So for me, I had to make an alteration where I started sleeping on a very lightly padded mattress on the floor. It's not even a mattress, to be honest with you. It's like a children's play area, okay? So I would put that down just so I could keep everything as stable as humanly possible. I elevated my feet because I bought one of those like massive recovery pillows that you see in like hospitals that don't necessarily compress. So it's like probably a 2-foot incline that I would sleep on. And then if I needed to, sometimes I would put a pillow between my legs if I did decide to side sleep. So I flattened the ground as hard as I could. When I woke up in the morning, I had to do contrast therapy. If you have that available to you, it's a very nice tool to have. What is contrast therapy? It's rotating between a hot bath or a hot, like a heated, almost like personal pool into some sort of like, you could do like an ice bath, right? I'm not a big fan of cold water, so having to do that was not my favorite, but it's what got me through to be able to kickstart me, be able to move for the day. So contrast therapy between hot and cold. That actually ended up being mostly hot bath into sauna. Sauna is a great tool to do in the morning. So I would wake up, I'd brush my teeth, put on the clothes as best I could, sandals, and then I would move to some of these hot and cold dynamics, okay? Now that started to kind of get the ball rolling. If you take anti-inflammatories or prescribed anti-inflammatories, I was using diclofenac. I found that much more profitable in terms of what I was able to do over the diclofenac over the ibuprofen. So if you have access to diclofenac, try to get your hands on that. I wasn't doing more than 2 pills per day, but that got me going. What I would do then is I would leave the sauna, I'd put on my clothes, and then I would do immediately 20 minutes of incline walking at a pace that whatever I could do. And then I would then move into my PT for the day. Now, this is where it's extremely important to be case by case dependent on the individual, on what you can physically do. I'm not going to recommend anything to you on that regard, because who knows what kind of state that you're in, like how much can you hinge, what's your extension look like. It would definitely be not advisable for me to just tell you what I did. It's relative and it progressed in nature. Every single day I started to feel better after doing my physical therapy that got me to where I needed to go. So how long did this take between the contrast therapy, the diclofenac? It took about 2 weeks to start feeling pretty normal. I was told it was going to take like 6 to 8 weeks, but I got it down to about 2 weeks here. In terms of peptides, highly recommend the TB500. It's actually a compound called GLOW, which is 3 things. It's TB500, BPC157, and the GHQ. GHK or GHQ, I'm pretty sure it's one of those. But GLOW is the name of the peptide. It's about $115, $120 for 10 milligrams. So I was doing that protocol every single day without fail. There's no days that I missed. It was contrast therapy, 20 minutes of cardio, peptides in the morning, and then followed by physical therapy every single day. And that's what got me feeling pretty good, where I didn't really need medication at that point. Now, I'm going into a 3rd week where most likely I'm okay to train. I probably am gonna hold off, just continue to progress my physical therapy exercises. At this stage, I'm doing reverse hypers with both legs up, some static holds, weighted clamshells. I'll probably do a variation of like a bird dog exercise as well. That's provides a little bit of like resistance, and then a lot of pal-off presses. So I'm putting this video out there, guys, just because I think it's important to get as much information on these different things, but no longer am I currently like severely leaning to I believe it was my left side. Yeah, my left side, which is where I think that the injury occurred. So if you're currently battling any of these things, stay the course. Make sure that you have a great regimen in place. It's the same thing as bodybuilding. It has to be the daily thing. You got to make sure that you make time for it, and good things will happen. If you have, personalized questions that you want to submit to me, feel free to do it on the YouTube channel. You can DM me at the Kreitzer, and we can figure out something for you that's more personalized rather, versus like cookie cutter stuff that you find on the internet. And we're gonna go from there. Thank you for watching. Dragon out.